why next level people love him, is he has the ability to step back and make a three. He has the ability to get fouled. He knows what the game needs. I've had him a very, very short time. I would love to take credit for all of that, and I can take credit for none. He's got a gift, and you know, I think it was the first couple of games of the year. You know, he took 2 or 3 shots in a game, and it was just what the game brought to him. There's no force. I've learned that, you know, he's going to make a mistake or two. Let him play through it, and he's going to level out. And so I don't doubt that that he's going to make the right play most of the time.
Coach, would it be fair to say your team took a pretty big step in terms of grit and physicality today in this game?
Yeah, the one thing I liked about today was we got a nice lead, and we never wavered. We stayed true to it, and it was, you know, it kind of got up there to 15, 16, 17, and get to 9 or 10, and then you know, we would make a play. This group was unwavering. They made the plays when they needed to make them, and that's not easy to do. And you know, you give Arkansas a lot of credit. They've got very, very talented players. You know, Thero was tremendous today. Z was tremendous, and yet we always seem to have the answer. And then we got key rebounds when we needed to, and key stops.
Brad, I counted over the course of the game 4 separate loose balls, and 4 times you guys got on the floor and retained possession on all 4 of those opportunities. How happy does that make you?
Oh, we talked about it in the locker room. There were 4 opportunities to get on the floor, and we were the first one on the floor every single time. And we can talk about, you know, what actions we ran and who made this shot. Those are the plays that will ultimately keep you moving forward in March and in the NCAA tournament. And we've built our program on that, and that's our culture. And you know, every possession is a little battle, and to get extra opportunities was huge. So we got a lot of guys making a lot of really good plays.
Brad, I want to ask about the bench tonight. How does it feel for you just to have the luxury that you can depend on those guys to get it done?
It's tremendous. I mean, how about you know, Jake Davis, Draven, you know, what Merez is doing. I couldn't be more pleased with what Merez is doing on the defensive side, and his presence, and that you know, athleticism and grit, and you know, everybody's contributing. Will, you know, obviously is our leading scorer coming off the bench, and when you're more productive coming off the bench, in some cases, you know, they're adding something, and you know, when you want the pieces of the puzzle to fit, the bench is where it starts, and this group's starting to understand roles. They're starting to believe in their roles and really step into what those things are looking like.
You were asked at Big Ten Media Days, like, who might be the closer, and you know, October you didn't know. Just was as Casper's like kind of emerged in that role, or was tonight his turn, and maybe next week it's somebody else?
I don't have the answer to that. Tonight it was him. You know, you kind of ride the hot hand. You know, I think we've done that with Will a little bit. I think we've done it with, you know, with Kylan. We felt, you know, really good about what those situations are. I think when you're trying to close a game, you like, you know, guys who can score it in multiple ways, and you like guys who can get to the foul line and make free throws. And most importantly, not afraid of the moment. But you know, maybe Tommy in some sense. Ben, I don't know. Tonight it was Kasparos, and he did it very instinctive and just out of the natural flow of the game.
Brad, Boogie Flan shoots 2 for 12. Extremely talented player. Talk about Kylan Boswell's defense on him.
Yeah, Boogie's probably the best, you know, considered the best freshman guard in the country, and you know what he's been doing, you know, all season long. And you know, to Boogie's defense, he played in some foul trouble. But I think again, that's the KJ Kylan factor as well. You know, having to defend those guys downhill in their drives. But you know, Kylan's really kind of 4 for 4, starting with the Sears game and against Alabama, and then the 2 home games, taking 20-point perimeter scorers and making it very hard for him. And Tonight was no different. We paid a lot of attention to Boogie and didn't want him to get going. Kylan has a knack for being able to take that away.
Brad, 90 points on that defense. I think you said this is what you envisioned when you put this roster together. What about it most encouraged you?
Yeah, it was well rounded. It was ball movement. It was the next actions. Nothing was. That's a top 10 defense. I think they were 10th in defensive efficiency coming in, and to do it with multiple guys and the spacing and to do it in different ways. Tommy killed a possession late because he took about 8 dribbles into the post up. I said, I don't want you posting up. And when you can keep the floor spread and get downhill, and it's modern basketball today, and we recruited to it, and we've got guys who can do it, and hopefully we continue to keep adding and keep growing.
Brad, you mentioned their top 10 defensive team. They're also top 15 in turnover rate. You guys only had 11 turnovers. What was the key in taking care of the ball this afternoon?
Yeah, maturity. We're growing up a little bit. We saw a little bit of that against Little Rock, who was another top 20 team in terms of turnovers forced. We had one, I think Kylan threw one to Ben where he didn't come meet it late, and KJ had a couple right there at the start of the second half, but for the most part it's, we want people to pressure us. We want them to come out and extend the floor and pick us up, and that's to our advantage. Playing in the open court in as much space as we can create is advantage Illinois. I probably shouldn't have said that and given away a scouting report, but it's just maturity, guys understanding 2-foot jump stops, guys understanding ball toughness. That comes with experience, and we've been fortunate. We've seen some good defenses, so it's been trial by error there.
Scott and then Brian.
You mentioned the bench at the end of the first half. Kylan, Ben, Trey, all on the bench with 2 fouls, and grew the lead. So, what did you like in that moment?
Yeah, my hat's off to those guys doing their job, not being afraid. I think Jake hit a big 3 in that sequence. I think that that's kind of when you've got to figure out where we're going to get it. I think we've got opportunities to get to the foul line late in a half. Those are things that are advantageous in those moments when you do have guys in foul trouble, figuring out how to get fouled, go to the line. But Merez, I thought was terrific. I thought Draven gave us a lot of really good minutes on both ends of the court. So that's what you ask for, is just really good support and productivity when those guys come in.
With Brian and then finish with up front.
Brad, how did this matchup with Arkansas come together?
A lot of people, a lot of conversations in CBS, and this is Brooks Downey runs this, and we've dealt with Brooks for a long time, and to get the opportunity on Thanksgiving Day in such a great city that loves basketball, great venue, and then to play a Hall of Fame coach. And I think it speaks, I'm going to brag about us, I think it speaks volumes to where our program has gotten, what a crowd we had today. And I think that, when we keep moving the needle, it's all that comes to fruition, and we jumped at the opportunity, and a lot of people do a lot of work, but here we are against a Hall of Fame coach on Thanksgiving, following the Lions Bears, and we know there are a lot of eyeballs on that today, so very excited to be a part of that.
Coach, maybe more than any other game so far, you had interchangeable point guards. So Kylan handled the ball in the first half and KJ the second half. How much of a luxury is that for you, and what kind of pressure does that put on the defense where you can just switch guys back and forth like that?
Yeah, it's always been something I've enjoyed doing. And I go back to Andres and Trent and Io. I've had multiple handlers. I like being able to take advantage of the mismatch that way, the hot hand that way, run different actions that way. Both of those guys fit that. You add Will in there. We run Will at point guard spot a lot in practice as well. So that's who we are. We're always going to continue to have those guys on the court, and you add Draven to that, and we got a lot of guys who can handle and make plays.
Okay, this last one here.
Brad, Tommy had a block. He blocked Boogie at the rim, and then I think Boogie probably thought he was going to get contact. He didn't. Then he hit some threes. It just seemed like Tommy had it going from both ends from the very get-go. Just what you think his all-around game really filled up the box score?
Yeah, the best game he's played, and not just because he made shots. And I've said this many times. Tommy's one of our best shooters. Tommy is we've seen practices. We had a day where he was 9 of 11 from 3, and he is that guy. Our challenge has been at the other end. Where Z is an elite shot blocker, and doing it at that, getting Tommy dialed in our ball screen coverage, and he's so cerebral. He's very, very smart. But challenging shots, using his length, using his ability to go challenge shots has been something we've been working with him on. And Z does it very instinctive. Tommy plays more position, but to see him do that today, now he's set an expectation that I can get on his rear end when he doesn't. So he was dominant today. I thought he was terrific on both sides.
Can I ask you one more?
Sure.
Billy Richmond, number 24. I've seen you know about him as a recruit. I thought he gave Arkansas a good lift off the bench, kind of got downhill. I was curious what you thought of Billy scouting Arkansas, maybe from what you saw today, maybe what he can do.
Elite open court player. I think he's a guy that we weren't necessarily concerned about him shooting it. I don't know how well he shoots it. We were playing him more as a driver. I think he's an elite defender. For a young guy to come up with the steals he does, get the passing lanes, and then he's what we call a head rammer. He just gets downhill, and he's got a great body, great physical tools. Plays above the rim, and there's no doubt he's going to impact that basketball team a lot in moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.